Hey, if you were a fan of Dokken or if you were into 80s hard rock, heavy metal, you will really enjoy what we have for you here today. I'm Robert John Hadfield.
And I'm Gary Casella.
And Gary, what I found here is I found an article that it's an interview with Don Dokken. And he talks a little bit about the idea of setting your own trend in order to be successful. And the reason this jumped out to me, and the reason I thought this would be fun to talk about, is that I never really thought of the band Dokken as trendsetters. You know, to me, when I look back, I love Dokken. But when I look back at Dokken, I think of them as just, you know, being another one of those really good kind of Los Angeles metal bands. There was never anything about them that I thought was particular. So I thought it'd be interesting to read what he had to say and then maybe pick it apart a little bit and think, did Dokken really have something?
Was he onto something?
Yeah.
Is there foresight that we don't see?
Because he's right about the concept here, but it was that really true with them? And so I got out, because this article, it's from the Knoxville News Sentinel. Let me see where this was printed.
Shout out to Knoxville. Tennessee in the house.
Okay, yeah. Knoxville, Tennessee.
And this was Kurt.
That's right. He's in Tennessee, huh?
Yeah. He's in Nashville, but Kurt.
There you go, Kurt.
Love,
man. I was in Tennessee or Nashville a couple weeks ago. Yeah, Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee. And so this was published on January 10th of 1985. And so to put this in perspective from a Dokken standpoint, this album here, Tooth and Nail, came out in September of the previous year, so September of 84.
Okay.
And then Under Lock and Key would come out later on. A
couple months later.
Actually, yeah, sometime later this year before this would come out. So it was a little ways away still.
And then Breaking the Chains was before this.
Was
2 years. So 2 albums in.
So Breaking the Chains,
setting the trend.
Right, yeah.
Right, that's what we're saying.
So he's talking about success from trend setting. So anyway, so I'm going to jump into this and then we'll just kind of, again, I think this would be just kind of interesting to look at what he has to say. And there's a sweet picture of Don himself right there looking, oh man, look at, okay, do you see that wristband? Did you ever wear wristbands like that? You know what I mean?
In sports.
But wasn't there a time like when it was just cool just to wear them?
There was.
Okay, I'm just looking at this going, because it's not a studded spiked one like a lot of people did. That's just a wristband.
A wristband. So he's probably like, even though he's already sporting the, okay, just for those of you, this is a disclaimer that I'm going to be sarcastic because he's got the headband going on, right? But it's not the sports headband. It's like the bandana, right?
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, because when you're rocking the mic on stage, maybe you got a little sweaty, you can just use the wristband, just
that's a good point.
Doing some of that action, but instead you already got the headband. So what are you doing? It's more of a fashion statement.
It is, and that it is.
Okay.
For sure. Okay.
Sarcasm done.
All right. So don't feel sorry for Don Dokken. Oh, wait, what's the title of this? Okay, it says, the title of the article is, "It Will Pay in the End If You Set Your Own Trend." Dokken says. Okay. Don't feel sorry for Don Dokken. His self-named band is getting a slow start compared with other Los Angeles groups like Quiet Riot and Ratt, but Dokken doesn't mind. Of course, Quiet Riot at this point is, well, they're kind of on the way out. But they had been
already blew up with mental health, right?
Mental health. They had already blown up.
Mental health.
Yes.
Mental health.
But they had already been huge, and they were huge. I mean, there are people that credit that album with being the thing that brought the idea of heavy metal into the mainstream.
Well, certainly in America and on MTV, and
yeah, it was a big deal. Big deal. And then Ratt. I don't know if I actually like Ratt. I've talked about that before, haven't I? Yeah.
I wasn't aware that you.
Hey, let me tell you, there was a lot of people that watched that video that commented on how much they like Ratt. So I'm not alone in the world for appreciating the Ratt.
Your fellow infastators.
Ratt people. Yes, infastators. Okay. Quote, "I've always said I'd rather set trends than follow them," the singer-guitarist says. "If you're good, it'll pay off in the end. I never listen to anybody as far as trends. I never sit down and say, let's write pop tunes. We write songs that we like, not Round and Round meets Shout at the Devil meets Bang Your Head, says Dokken, who was at the forefront of the Los Angeles heavy metal explosion. And so right there, he's listing 3 kind of typical, I mean, those were the standard heavy metal bands at the time. I mean, you got Motley Crüe, Ratt.
And big songs are theirs.
And big songs. And it's not, and I guess his point is, we're not trying to be like all these other LA bands that were popular at the time. And I think, I don't know if we talked about this or not, but he's mentioning Bang Your Head, but that was off of Metal Health, and that was popular a couple years earlier.
Yes. But
so
they definitely put rock music or heavy rock music in the
that
mainstream.
Was, again, when you start talking about heavy metal coming out of Los Angeles, that one just exploded, that album. Okay. This year, everybody thinks we're going to be a multi-platinum act, but it's too early to tell yet. It will be interesting for somebody to ask me in 4 months. It might be a different tune. People change. They get famous and they change. They get overconfident. You can look at every band that's made it and then failed and see why. Now, I guess he's about to tell us why they fail.
Please, Don.
So
tell us.
Because the truth is, this album did pretty well, and the next album did actually. I think it did better. I actually liked the next album at least as much as this one.
It's got a lot of good songs.
It was Under Lock and Key was an excellent album in my opinion. So okay, and then here it goes. When success goes to a musician's head, he has a problem. Dokken says, and then it goes, quote, "It hurts your writing," he notes. Quiet Riot is a classic example. They got too overconfident, too cocky. The new album proves it. So, Condition Critical. Did you buy Condition Critical?
I did not.
Okay, I did. I was a Quiet Riot fan, and it was just not
as good.
It just wasn't that good. And
I think my friend bought it, and I heard it, and I'm like,
they disappeared as fast as they showed up. In some ways. I mean, it really, anyway, yeah, it was not. and so he has a point there. You know, so many bands, so many people, they get famous and then they start to stink.
Yeah. Well, I'm just picking up on, hey, Don, you're coming out swinging to your other fellow
it's
bands.
Funny.
I mean, we kind of hear how much of I don't want to say, jerk he was to deal with, but I'm kind of seeing some colors here.
Yeah, it's funny that you said that because I was thinking that as a right. It's like he's in the middle of an interview that he knows is going to get published,
dude, and
he starts knocking at these other people that your competition.
Yeah, go ahead, man,
or whatever. But Kevin Dubrow was famous for that too.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some of that.
Okay, it hurts your writing, and the truth is, how many bands really, after they become famous, keep writing really good music? It's very common for that sophomore album to not be any good, and then to, boom, they start going down.
That's with everybody, right? You get to a certain point, and whether it's just your stage in your career, or you've kind of like fame and fortune has now not made you as hungry.
Yeah, right.
Whatever.
Eye of the tiger, baby.
It is Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah. And there's something to that. It's true.
Rocky reference.
Yes. Okay.
Or was that who's the
Survivor?
Survivor.
The Survivor reference. You know what? I have almost every Survivor album that they ever put out. Did you know that before that album, they had like 5 albums?
Stop.
I mean, they were around. I used to really like Survivor. Just by the way. Okay. Actually, look, he keeps swinging. Kevin Dubrow is real confused about success. This is Don speaking.
Yes.
It's hard to cope with having an album that big, Metal Health, your first time out. You got to try to do better the next time. I'd rather have 4 successful albums than 1 huge one and 3 stiffs. I mean, and give Don, give him credit. Because he had a great album. The next album was really good. Some people think the one after that was even better. I know you love that one.
Thank you.
So okay,
for remembering that.
Yes. Okay. If listeners can't tell the difference between good music and bad music, there's nothing I can do about it, says Dokken, whose band has won praise for its melodies as well as its metal passion.
I kind of agree with that.
Yes, they had great melodies. Don had a really nice singing voice, in my opinion. I actually really liked them. You can only do the best you can. I try to make an album that people will get in their collection and listen to for years and years. And again, I got to be honest with you, I do pop this album out and Under Lock and Key out periodically.
They're a go-to.
Talking about years and years. That's like close to 50 years.
Not quite, but
So,
yes, close.
60, 70. It's been a while. Dokken says his 3-year-old band, which is on tour now with Dio, is going well just about everywhere. Quote, every place we play, everybody knows our songs. The East Coast is our weakest spot right now, but it's everybody's weakest spot. That's interesting. I guess because everybody's out of
He's
LA.
an LA homer.
Yeah,
That's all I'm
okay.
saying. East Coast in the house.
That's right. Heavy metal is, quote, out on the East Coast, while bands that are popular are the ones like Duran Duran, The Fix, U2. They're good bands for that kind of music, he says. U2 is a real band. U2 I like. They write about things we see in life. That's kind of interesting to know Don Dokken is a U2 fan.
Right.
I loved U2. You liked him. You liked him back then, didn't you?
They're fantastic.
Okay. Yeah, I loved them.
And they had more than one big album.
Oh my
They've
gosh. Yeah, that see
so much material.
They're one of the most unusual groups because when they put out the song Beautiful Day, which that's in the top songs they ever did. They'd been in a band for 20 years when they put that out. And they're still putting out their best stuff. There's so few groups.
Yeah, no.
That's like rare.
We can have a whole segment or show or multiple shows on how great U2 is.
Okay, well now,
even though they're not considered hard rock heavy metal, they are.
They were trendsetters. They were unique. They
Disney
were awesome.
just had Disney, the greatest in some people's opinion, but one of the biggest companies. They own just about everything, including Star Wars and everything else, Marvel. They just did a U2 documentary last year, a year ago or so, and it's fantastic. It's kind of behind the scenes in Dublin. It's great.
Yeah, I love U2. Yeah,
great.
I think they're awesome. Okay.
It's kind of like a home. I think it is called Homecoming. So
that was one of their best songs, A Sort of Homecoming. That was on the Unforgivable Fire, like one of my favorite tunes. They were. I really do. I love them. Okay, now he's swinging again. Let's see here. Duran Duran is a corporation more than a band. They just write pop songs. They try to look as glamorous as possible and commercialized as much as possible. That's not really rock to me, says Dokken. I don't get off on Duran Duran. Okay, now it may not really be rock to him, but I'm going to just confess something. There was a lot of Duran Duran stuff I liked. And you know who, but I'm going to just throw a little thing in there.
Okay.
Partly because of Andy Taylor, who was their guitar player. And do you remember Andy Taylor put out some solo stuff back then too? I loved.
Dude, I'm not saying you pushed Andy Taylor on me as much as Ratt, but yes, no,
I loved Andy
remember
Taylor.
Andy
He was
Taylor.
Duran Duran's guitarist, and he was
for sure.
He was great. He was working with Steve Jones from the Sex Pistols. He was awesome. I loved that stuff. Okay,
but let's not compare Duran Duran album sales and girls in the audience to Dokken's show. Come on, man.
Okay.
You're not even in the same league.
Yes, that's true. That's
not even in the same league.
That's true. But he doesn't get off on Duran Duran. He just told us.
Right.
We're not into that at all. We concentrate on our playing. If we're good players, we make good music. That should be enough. And he did have one of the greats in his band, obviously George.
Yeah, George Lynch is phenomenal.
One of the greatest from that era. We're not a posing band. If that means we're not going to make it, that's fine. I'm just a musician. I'm not a poser. I don't know. I mean, especially the next album after this one, the picture, I should have got it out. They looked like a band that was trying really hard.
Yeah,
anyway, when you say that, I go,
Call it.
So, oh, by the way, see, I have, I think I've talked about that before.
Yes.
Anyway, okay. Not a posing band. Dressing in leather and doing strange things to his hair don't appeal to Dokken. Well, again, look at the next album.
Yeah.
Quote, I did all that stuff 5 years ago.
Next one. Look at what he's looking like.
I had a streak in my hair. I took it out because everybody else started doing it. So he was the trendsetter with the streak in his hair.
Yeah, okay.
If people if people don't want to, I love Don. I don't want to make fun of him because I love his stuff, but it is funny. If people don't want to buy our albums for the music, don't buy them. What he calls fashion rock is a passing phase. The 28-year-old, he was 28, 28-year-old Dokken believes. Fans will realize and get back to the music, he says. That has started happening already, he says, with Deep Purple's new album. It's not commercial, it's just good music. And that's actually an interesting point because Perfect Strangers was kind of out at this time.
Yep.
You had several of these bands from way back when in England that were putting out their new stuff, like Yes, Deep Purple, Uriah Heep about this time was putting out some new stuff. And the Kinks, I mean, there's a bunch of bands that were the old British stuff. But Deep Purple was a big one at this point. It's just good music. Good music is the meeting ground for Dokken, the band. Dokken says it's no secret that he and band members, guitarist George Lynch, 27, bassist Jeff Pilson, 25, and drummer Mick Brown, 26, are not the best of friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
We know that.
We know that.
History has said so.
Quote,
Multiple
nobody
breakups
gets
and
along
fights.
with George, he says. If George throws in 2 notes on a song, he gets credit for, oh my gosh. No wonder they broke up, man. Listen to this. If George throws in 2 notes on a song, he gets credit for it. He's trying to make himself a star. That's his right. Dude, I can't believe. Okay. This is so interesting.
Almost shocking. But yeah, not
because
that
he knows
shocking.
this is going to get printed. And this is his bandmate, and he's like, "Not, oh, yeah, that's okay." I didn't read this all the way through before now. This is interesting. On the latest Dokken album, Tooth and Nail, right here, there was lots of stuff that I wasn't credited for. The singer says, "Oh my gosh!"
But the name of the band is your name. Okay, you're not getting credit. Go ahead.
He's not getting any sympathy from me either. Hey, I didn't get credit for. Okay, I produced my own vocals. A magazine said Jeff produced my vocals because he told them he did, but I did it. When I did my vocals, I kicked the whole band out of the studio. I said, I'll see you in a month. But Dokken isn't crying about it. It sounds like he is. Pretty
like
close.
There's no tomorrow. Like a
oh
girl.
my gosh. Okay.
Just saying.
Quote,
Dressed like one.
Yeah. Quote, that's just the way it is. That's just honest. I know what I did, and the record company knows what I did, and that's what counts. If it makes them feel good, so what? The band's called Dokken, and I'm Dokken. Dude, I can't. This is like a parody. This is like a parody of this guy.
It's kind of weird. It's kind of funny, I'm going to say. But keep going. It's even more. He just digs his own grave the further he talks.
Holy cow. Okay. I didn't read this all the way through.
That's great.
This is crazy. Okay,
it's
quote.
great that you didn't, because now it's like this is the real.
This is amazing. Okay, quote. Our manager seems to think that the tension is what made the album what it is. Like a traffic accident, when you have 4 eyewitnesses, you get 4 different stories. That's just the way this band works. And then we're harmonious on stage. Unquote. But is the fighting worth it? That's the
Right.
writer saying that. Quote, I guess so. That's what I keep telling myself, unquote. Dokken warns, however, that things will be different on the next album. Nice guys finish last. That's what Dokken just said. When he does make it, Dokken will have to set the record straight on one point that has his fans confused. Although his career got started in Germany, his first recording contract was with a European label, and even his record company makes a big deal out of his ties to the fatherland. He is not German. And then, quote, Dokken's Norwegian.
Okay. Dude, there's a reason why people don't like you, man.
Yeah,
you keep talking like that.
That's
not
actually
making any friends. I mean, how many incarnations of Dokken has he had?
Oh, tons.
I mean, it's a revolving door after the classic lineup.
Just over and like so many people running through this thing. And it's so interesting because how many, have you watched interviews with George Lynch before talking?
Yeah.
Nice guy, at least.
Yeah. I think he's more authentic.
Yeah.
And just like, hey, man, we were all trying to do what we were doing back then because that was cool and that was the trend. And we weren't setting trends like, what in the article did Don say?
He actually didn't say anything about him setting trends. All he basically said was, "I'm awesome, and everybody takes advantage of me, and I did all the work, and I'm the greatest."
Amen.
And you know what?
Dokken.
And I hate to admit it.
I'm the greatest.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I hate to admit it. I loved his stuff. I loved
great music.
I loved
great
his
stuff.
music. I loved his voice.
Because the fighting made it work.
Yeah.
Right. Isn't that what he said?
Yeah.
Fighting made it work.
I don't believe
whatever,
that.
man.
That doesn't sound.
It's unfortunate that
Is unfortunate that I just read. Well, no, it's not. Now I see. I actually. Wow, that's so funny.
You get to see behind the scenes. Like, this is why. I mean, if I'm any of the other three, next time he's on stage, I'm going to punch him in the face. Like, that's the East Coast. That's how we settle. You know, bagging on East Coast. They don't like it. But I mean, the reality is that, you know, he's not making any friends.
Wow, that's so interesting,
dude. He went all guns blazing.
Yeah,
trashed Quiet Riot, Motley Crüe, his band,
his own bandmates,
all in one article.
The guys that he needs to make this music. Anyway, that's really fascinating. Okay, well, anyway. We didn't learn anything about what the topic was, other than the title of the article is generally correct. Yeah, it pays in the end if you set your own trend, and then he just ignored that for most of the rest of the article. But it is
history says otherwise, right? I mean,
yeah. Well, okay. So that was, and we'll just wrap it up with this. The reason I thought that was interesting to talk about was because I never thought of Dokken as trend setting. They seemed like they just kind of fit into
the LA mold.
Yeah, like
and they were
Ratt,
a little bit more,
Motley Crüe, Dokken.
Right?
You know, they all kind of fit into that thing.
The Quiet Riot, the timing of when they were coming on. Yes, was pre Guns N' Roses, LA Guns, Poison, Faster Pussycat, and all those bands that kind of came after that, right? They were in that earlier wave, like Quiet Riot, Ratt that he mentions, right? And so, did they get lost in the shuffle? No.
I mean, look who produced this. It's Tom Werman. He did Shout at the Devil. Same guy.
Good stuff.
So
it was great.
Yeah, I mean, he was responsible for a lot of huge. I mean, massive things.
You know, the whole reason, you know, I'm sure the whole reason.
But part of the same group, though, that's my point, is he's all in the same crowd.
Yeah. I'm just going to say, maybe the reason he has a sweatband on is because he's crapping his pants thinking who's going to kick his ass next. Right? He's like looking over his shoulder.
I'll be honest with you, we'll wrap this up, but I'm a little shocked at what I just read. That's surprising, because this was going to get printed. And he's ragging on the guys in his band.
George Lynch or Jeff Pilson, they might be watching this video and being like, dude, that got me fired up. We're going to go beat up Don. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go track him down.
Okay. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed that. And of course, like the video, leave your comments. Do you remember this period of time? Do you remember Dokken? What did you think about Dokken? Had you ever heard him talk like this? Because I knew a little bit about who he was, his personality, but I'd never.
Yeah, only through like interviews and some stuff.
This was kind of interesting to see that. So anyway, I'd love to get your feedback on that. Please like the video, share this with if you like this. You certainly know other people that would like this too, so please share this with other people. And with that, have yourself a fantastic day.
I'm embarrassed for Don.